You are destroying yourself, and you call it love. You call it loyalty. You call it kindness. But in the cold light of reality, it is none of those things. It is self-sabotage disguised as virtue. There is an uncomfortable truth about human nature that most people avoid because it challenges everything they want to believe. Centuries ago, Machiavelli warned rulers of a lesson that polite society still struggles to accept today. Not everyone can be saved. More importantly, not everyone wants to be saved. Some people are not searching for a way out. They are searching for someone to carry them. They are not looking for a helping hand. They are looking for an anchor. And when you reach out to pull them from the water, they do not climb toward the surface. They pull you beneath it. They use your strength to survive, while slowly draining yours. They keep themselves afloat by placing the weight of their chaos onto your shoulders. You know exactly who these people are. You have met them. Perhaps at this very moment you are sacrificing yourself for one of them. The friend who is always trapped in another crisis. The partner who exhausts your spirit while endlessly asking for more patience. The family member who takes your time, your energy, your money, and your peace, only to repay your generosity with resentment instead of gratitude. You keep trying to fix them. You try to heal them. You think that if you just love them enough, if you just sacrifice enough, they will change. But Machiavelli would look at you with cold eyes and tell you the brutal truth. A man who tries to be good all the time is bound to come to ruin among so many who are not good. Compassion without boundaries is not a virtue. It is a weakness. It is a fatal flaw that predators, parasites, and the willfully ignorant will exploit until you are nothing but a hollow shell. Today, we are going to perform a surgery on your conscience. We are going to cut away the rotting tissue of blind kindness. We are going to explore the 6 types of people you must never, under any circumstances, try to save. This is not about being cruel. This is about survival. This is about preserving your power so you can use it for those who actually deserve it. If you are tired of being the one who gives everything and gets nothing but pain in return, listen closely. This might be the most important lesson of your life. But be warned, once you see human nature through this lens, you can never go back to the comforting lie of ignorance. Before we identify the faces of these 6 dangerous archetypes, you must understand the mechanics of the savior trap. Why do you do it? Why do you rush into the burning building when the person inside lit the match? Because you have been conditioned to believe that your worth is tied to your utility. You believe that goodness is measured by how much pain you can endure for others. You think that saying no is an act of betrayal. Machiavelli viewed this as a strategic suicide. In his world and in the real world we live in today, energy is a finite resource. Power is finite. Time is finite. When you pour your resources into a black hole, you are not just wasting them. You are actively funding the destruction of your own future. Imagine a ship. It has a limited amount of supplies. If you bring everyone on board, the sick, the mad, the saboteurs, the ship does not become a haven. It sinks and then everyone dies, including the innocent, including you. To save the ship, you must be ruthless about who you allow on deck. This is the concept of therapeutic darkness. It is the understanding that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone hit the bottom, because the bottom is the only place where the illusion shatters. The bottom is the only place where they are forced to stand up or stay down. When you save them, you steal their lesson. You interrupt the natural law of cause and effect. So who are they? Who are the ones you must cut loose? Let's look at the first one, the most subtle and often the most dangerous. Type 1. The architect of chaos. The first type is the person who is perpetually followed by a dark cloud. Machiavelli warned against associating with the unlucky, not out of superstition, but out of observation. He noticed that some people are not victims of fate. They are architects of their own destruction. You know this person. Every time you speak to them, there is a new tragedy. They lost their job, their car broke down, their partner betrayed them, their landlord forced them to leave. Crisis follows crisis in an endless, exhausting cycle. At first, your heart goes out to them. You think, how can one person endure so much? So you step in. You lend them money. You offer advice. You introduce them to people who can help. You create opportunities they could never have found on their own. For a week, perhaps even a month, everything appears to improve. Then the chaos returns. The job you helped them get disappears because, according to them, the boss was unfair. The money you lent them vanishes into yet another emergency, and the cycle begins all over again. Listen carefully. Misfortune often follows patterns. This is not superstition. It is behavior. People who live in constant crisis frequently struggle with judgment, discipline, and self-awareness. They make impulsive choices. They ignore obvious warning signs. They create unnecessary conflict. They avoid difficult responsibilities. And through repeated decisions, they unintentionally recreate the same problems over and over. But here is the trap. They rarely see themselves as part of the pattern. Someone else is always to blame. It is always bad luck, always unfair circumstances, always another person. When someone never examines their own role in the outcome, every attempt to rescue them becomes temporary because the source of the problem remains untouched. If you continually try to rescue the architect of recurring chaos, you eventually become caught inside that chaos yourself. Their instability begins to consume your time, your energy, your peace, and sometimes even your future. Machiavelli understood a timeless principle. The fortunes of people become intertwined with those they choose to stand beside. Choose those connections wisely. When you tie your boat to a sinking ship, physics does not care about your good intentions. You go down with them. I have seen brilliant men and women lose their reputations, their savings, and their sanity because they tried to stabilize a person who's addicted to instability. You cannot fix a person who loves the drama of their own demise. Why do they do it? Because chaos gets them attention. Chaos absolves them of the need to work. If they are always the victim, they never have to be the victor. Stop trying to be their umbrella. Step back. Let the rain fall on them. Let them get wet. Let them get cold, because only the cold will make them realize they need to build their own shelter. If you keep shielding them, you are merely an enabler of their incompetence, and eventually their bad luck will become your bad luck. Keep your distance. Protect your peace. The infection of misfortune spreads through contact. Quarantine yourself from the architect of chaos. Type 2, the bottomless pit. The second type is perhaps the most painful to deal with. This is the person who demands your help, consumes your help, and then resents you for it. Machiavelli wrote extensively about the fickle nature of gratitude. He said, "Men are quick to change their nature when their interests change." The ungrateful person suffers from a deep, malignant wound of entitlement. They do not view your kindness as a gift. They view it as a debt you owe them. Watch the pattern. The first time you help them, they are effusive. "You saved me. I don't know what I would do without you." You feel good. You feel useful. The hook is set. The second time, they ask with less hesitation. You help again. They say thanks, but it's shorter, less eye contact. The third time, they don't ask. They expect. And if you delay, if you hesitate, they get irritated. They make a passive-aggressive comment. "I thought friends helped friends." This is the bottomless pit. Nothing you give will ever be enough to fill the void inside them, because the void is not a lack of resources. It is a lack of character. When you help someone like this, you create a dangerous dynamic. You become the master, and they become the dependent. And human beings, by their dark nature, hate those they depend on. Dependence breeds contempt. Deep down, they hate you because your strength reminds them of their weakness. Your generosity highlights their inability to provide for themselves. So they take your money, they take your time, and they secretly sharpen a knife to put in your back. Have you ever noticed that the people you help the most are often the ones who speak the worst of you when you are not around? This is why Machiavelli advises that if you must help, do it in a way that does not create ongoing dependence. Or better yet, do not help at all. If you recognize the unmistakable signs of entitlement, how do you recognize them? Test them. Say no to a small request. The way someone responds to a simple boundary reveals more about their character than 100 conversations ever could. A healthy person accepts your answer with respect. An entitled person responds very differently. They become angry. They try to make you feel guilty. They suddenly grow cold and distant. They attempt to punish you for turning off the flow of your time, attention, or generosity. If you see that pattern, do not ignore it. Leave. You cannot rescue someone who believes the world owes them everything. You can pour your time, your energy, your money, and your compassion into their life, yet they will still look at you as though you have given them too little. There are people who do not appreciate generosity. They consume it. Offer your wisdom where it can grow. Do not waste it where it will only be discarded. Type 3. The smiling saboteur. Now we move into even darker territory. The first two types exhaust you through incompetence or entitlement. The third drains you through something far more dangerous: envy. Machiavelli understood that envy is among the most destructive forces in any court, any business, or any circle of friends. The smiling saboteur is rarely a stranger. More often, they are someone standing close beside you, the friend who has known you for years, the colleague who started at the same level as you, the companion who watched your journey from the beginning. Then something changed. You grew, you improved, you succeeded. They remained exactly where they were. And although they may never admit it, your progress becomes a mirror reflecting everything they refuse to become. They cannot bear what that mirror shows them, but they are clever enough not to attack you openly. Open enemies, easy. You can see their swords. The smiling saboteur hides their dagger behind a grin. They want to save you from your own ambition. Listen to the way they speak to you when you share good news. I got the promotion. Oh, really? That's great. But aren't the hours terrible? You're going to burn out. I'm just worried about you. I met someone amazing. Nice. Just be careful. You know how you get your hopes up. I don't want to see you hurt again. Do you hear it? The subtle poison, the feigned concern. They cloak their envy in the language of protection. They try to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. They want to lower your confidence so you fall back down to their level. Machiavelli warned that men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that he who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. The envious person wants to save you from success because your success is a mirror reflecting their failure. If you try to bring them along, if you try to save them by pulling them up to your level, they will subconsciously or consciously sabotage the journey. They will create drama right before your big meeting. They will give you bad advice. They will reveal your secrets to your rivals. They don't want you to win. You cannot save the envious. Envy is an incurable disease of the soul. It eats the vessel that holds it. The only way to deal with the smiling saboteur is the law of concealment. Hide your wins. Hide your joy. Hide your plans. Machiavelli advises silence. Do not give them the ammunition of your happiness. When you are around them, be bland, be boring, be struggling. How is business? Oh, grind. It's tough. Feed them the misery they crave, and keep your victories for those who truly wish you well. If you try to save them, if you try to fix their insecurity with your love, you are hugging a suicide bomber. They will blow up the bridge you are building, just to watch you fall into the ravine. Never let them know your next move. Never let them know your true power. Pause for a moment. Breathe. I know this is heavy. I know faces are flashing in your mind right now. Names you haven't wanted to say out loud. You feel the guilt rising. The voice in your head saying, but they need me. But I'm different. But I can change them. Kill that voice. That voice is not your conscience. That voice is your ego. It is your arrogance, thinking you are powerful enough to rewrite human nature. You are not God. You are a human being with a limited battery. If you continue to plug yourself into these machines that run on pain, you will die, spiritually, mentally, and eventually physically. Stress kills. Betrayal kills. We have 3 more types to cover, and these next 3 are the ones that manipulate your deepest vulnerabilities. These are the ones that leave the deepest scars. Prepare yourself. We are going deeper into the labyrinth. Type 4, the professional victim. We arrive now at the most deceptive creature in the dark forest of human psychology. This type does not come at you with a knife. They do not come at you with arrogance. They come at you on their knees. The professional victim. Machiavelli understood power better than any man in history, and he knew that power comes in 2 forms, fear and sympathy. The tyrant uses fear, but the weak use sympathy. And sympathy is a drug that bypasses your logical brain and injects directly into your emotional center. You must understand this distinction. There are victims of circumstance, and then there are professional victims. A true victim wants to escape their pain. A professional victim wants to farm their pain. They cultivate it. They decorate it. They wear their trauma like a crown of thorns, demanding that you bow before their suffering. They weaponize their fragility. I can't do it because I'm depressed. You're hurting me by asking to take responsibility. The world is too hard for someone as sensitive as me. If you try to save this person, you enter a game you cannot win, because to save them would mean taking away their identity. If they get better, they lose their excuse. If they get strong, they lose the attention that their weakness guarantees. So they will fight your solutions. You offer a ladder. They say their arms are too tired. You offer a rope. They say it burns their hands. You offer to pull them up. They go limp, making themselves heavier, forcing you to carry their dead weight. Machiavelli would warn you. The one who relies on the pity of others builds his house on sand. But you, the savior, are building your house on a swamp. Every time you rescue them, you validate their helplessness. You teach them that being broken is a currency. You are paying them to stay sick, and here is the darkest part. The moment you stop, the moment you say, I cannot carry you anymore, the lamb becomes a wolf. The professional victim will turn on you with a ferocity that will shock you. They will paint you as the villain. They will tell the world that you abandoned them. They will rewrite history to make your exhaustion look like cruelty. They need a villain to complete their story. And by trying to be their hero, you have auditioned for the role of the villain. When you inevitably fail, do not play this role. Compassion for a professional victim is not love. It is masochism. It is a refusal to respect the dignity of their own agency. You must let them fall. You must allow them to face the void without your hand to hold, because only when the audience leaves does the actor finally stop performing. Type 5. The arrogant fool. This is the enemy of wisdom, the enemy of growth, and if you are not careful, the enemy of your peace of mind. The arrogant fool is not merely someone who lacks knowledge. Ignorance can be corrected through learning. The arrogant fool is something far more difficult to reach. They refuse to learn. They are deeply attached to their own opinions, even when those opinions are actively destroying their lives. Machiavelli understood this principle well. He warned that a ruler who lacks wisdom cannot be guided by wise counsel. The meaning is simple. You cannot teach a person who already believes they know everything. You watch them repeat the same mistakes again and again. They choose destructive relationships. They chase obvious scams. They create conflicts they are incapable of resolving. From where you stand, the danger is obvious. You see the cliff ahead. You see the warning signs. You see the outcome long before it arrives. And because you care, you rush forward. You tell them to stop. You show them the evidence. You explain the risks. You offer a different path. Yet what happens? Do they thank you? Do they listen? Do they reconsider? No. They argue. They dismiss. They defend. They twist every fact into support for the conclusion they had already decided to believe. They would rather protect their pride than protect their future. And this is the lesson most people learn too late. A person who is committed to being right will reject the truth if the truth threatens their identity. The arrogant fool does not need more information. they need humility. And humility is one of the few gifts that cannot be given by another person. Life usually delivers it personally, often at a price they could have avoided. Your responsibility is not to drag them away from every cliff. Your responsibility is to recognize when advice has become wasted energy. Some lessons can only be taught by consequences. Some people must touch the fire before they believe it burns. Why do you waste your breath? Understand in this ruthless lesson. You cannot use logic to get a man out of a position he didn't use logic to get into. The arrogant fool does not want truth. They want validation. And when you offer them truth, they perceive it as an attack on their ego. By trying to save them from their ignorance, you become their enemy. You become the personification of the reality they are trying to deny. So they will attack you. They will call you condescending. They will mock your intelligence. They will drag you into endless circular arguments that drain your spirit and leave you exhausted. And the worst part, when they finally fall off that cliff, and they will fall, they will not learn. They will blame the wind. They will blame the shoes. They will blame you for distracting them. Stop trying to be the teacher to those who have no desire to be students. It is arrogance on your part to think you can force wisdom into a closed mind. Machiavelli suggests a colder approach. Silence. Let reality be their teacher. Reality is a harsh tutor. It does not argue. It does not debate. It simply delivers consequences. When the arrogant fool speaks, do not correct them. Do not debate them. Simply nod and say, interesting, and then step back. Watch the crash from a safe distance. Protect your intellect. Do not dull your aid trying to cut through stone. Save your wisdom for those who ask for it, for those who have the humility to say, I don't know, help me. The arrogant fool must be left to the mercy of the world. It is the only thing strong enough to break their shell. Type 6, the scorpion. And now the final type, the one that breaks the hearts of the most loyal people. The history repeater, the scorpion. There is an old fable. A scorpion asks a frog to carry him across a river. The frog says, no, you will sting me and I will die. The scorpion says, why would I do that? Then we would both drown. The frog agrees, seeing the logic. Halfway across, the scorpion stings the frog. As they both sink, the frog gasps, why? The scorpion replies, it is my nature. There are people in this world whose nature is to betray, whose nature is to destroy. This is type 6, the person you have forgiven 1,000 times. They cheat on you, you forgive them. They steal from you, you forgive them. They lie to your face, you forgive them. Why? Because they cry, because they promise, I've changed. They say, I swear to God, this is the last time. I'm going to therapy. I'm going to church. I'm different now. And you want to believe them. You want to believe in redemption. You want to be the saint who saved the sinner. But Machiavelli warns, men never change their nature. Behavior is a pattern. Character is a pattern. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. When you save the scorpion from the consequences of their sting, you are not helping them evolve. You are interfering with their data. You are teaching them that they can sting and still survive. You are training them to hurt you. Every time you take them back, you lose a piece of your self-respect, and they respect you less too. How can they respect someone who treats themselves so poorly they view your forgiveness not as mercy, but as permission? If they took me back after I did X, they will take me back after I do Y. You are looking for the good in them, but you are ignoring the shadow that is consuming them. Machiavelli advised princes to be wary of those who have betrayed others, for they will inevitably betray you. Loyalty is not a decision. It is a habit. Betrayal is not a mistake. It is a habit. If you are dealing with a repeater, you must perform the hardest act of all, the amputation. You cannot taper off. You cannot be friends from a distance. You must cut it off completely, irrevocably. It will hurt. It will feel like you are cutting off your own arm. But that arm is gangrenous. If you keep it, the poison reaches your heart and you die. The scorpion cannot be saved. It can only be avoided. Accept their nature. Believe them the first time they show you who they are. Stop projecting your conscience onto a predator. Now you see them, the 6 faces of destruction. The unlucky, the ungrateful, the envious, the victim, the fool, the scorpion. You see them in your phone contacts. You see them at your dinner table. And now you feel a heaviness because you realize that to follow this path, you must make choices that will make you look bad in the eyes of the weak. You will be called cold. You will be called selfish. You will be called Machiavellian. Good. Wear those titles like armor, because what they call selfishness, the wise call self-preservation. What they call coldness, the wise call clarity. You must transition from the savior to the sovereign. A savior sacrifices himself to light a fire for others burning until he is ash. A sovereign builds a lighthouse. He stands tall. He shines a light, but he does not jump into the waves. Those who want to be saved will swim to the light. Those who want to drown will drown in the dark. But the lighthouse remains. This is the ultimate lesson. You are not responsible for the souls of other men. You are responsible for the vessel that carries your own. When you stop trying to save the unsavable, a strange thing happens. You reclaim your energy. You reclaim your time. Your anxiety vanishes. Your finances improve. Your health returns. You begin to build an empire of your own peace, and in that peace you find the strength to help the few who actually deserve it. The ones who take your advice. The ones who return your loyalty. The ones who grow when you water them. That is true power. Not the power to endure suffering, but the power to choose who is worthy of your time. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few really know what you are." Let the world see a calm, untouched surface. Let them think whatever they choose. You no longer need to correct every misunderstanding or defend every decision. Deep within yourself, know that you have mastered one of life's most difficult disciplines, the art of letting go. But understand this. As you begin removing the people who continually drain your energy, as you become quieter, stronger, and more deliberate, you will eventually encounter one final opponent, the most dangerous one of all. Because once the noise disappears, once the distractions are gone, once the people who depended on your weakness no longer have access to you, you will find yourself alone. And in that silence, there will be nowhere left to look except the mirror. You may discover that the person you spent years trying to rescue was in some way a reflection of the part of yourself that still needed healing. Perhaps the greatest battle was never entirely outside you. Perhaps some of it has always lived within. That is a conversation for another day. If this perspective challenged the way you see yourself and the people around you, remember that this is only the beginning. There are ideas and psychological concepts that cannot be explored fully in public without being misunderstood or restricted. If you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next lesson. And if you're ready to go deeper, the Architect membership contains exclusive videos that explore advanced psychology, strategy, and human behavior in far greater detail than can be shared publicly. Most people will never take that step. That's exactly why it remains valuable.